I just found the cheapest new truck that you can buy today, and which one it is might actually surprise you. Trucks nowadays just keep getting more and more expensive, and basically every brand in the world has boarded the overpriced truck train. With prices like this, I was actually shocked when I stumbled across the cheapest new pickup truck that I've seen so far, and I couldn't wait to show it to you. So in this video, we're gonna go to Ford, Ram, Nissan, Toyota, and Chevy, and find the cheapest truck from each of those manufacturers. And by the end of this video, we'll also find out who has the cheapest full-size truck that you can buy. But first, I have to set a few rules for this thing. Since most buyers want a full-size truck that can actually fit the whole family and it's also good for a daily driver, it has to be a full-size truck with 4 doors. That means it can't be trucks like the Ford Maverick, the Chevy Colorado, the Nissan Frontier, and of course, not a Honda Ridgeline. Is the Ridgeline even a truck? Number 2, I have to find this truck on the lot. And number 3, the total price of the truck can include any discounts they currently have going on. So what's the absolute cheapest new full-size truck that you can buy? Let's go find out right now. And I'm starting somewhere here just a bit random. And here's why I'm starting at Nissan, because they only have one full-size truck, and this full-size truck they're actually getting rid of. 2024 was the last model year for it, and that would be the Nissan Titan. This is actually the only Nissan Titan that I could find where I live, and I'm here in Idaho, southern Idaho, the Boise area. This is the only Nissan Titan I could find within like 100 miles of here. I had to go several hundred miles out to even get closer to one. So this is actually the cheapest one I can find. And there's a bunch of different trim levels for the Titan, but the lowest low of the trim level, I can't find anywhere. So we're gonna get this one, the cheapest Titan that I can find. This one's actually been here for at least a few months, because I remember being here a couple months ago and this was here, and a couple months later it's still here. So this is a 2024 Titan with the 5.6 liter V8 engine and full-wheel drive in the SV trim level. And you may not know this, but the Titan actually has a 400 horsepower, 413 foot-pound torque, 5.6 liter V8, which is way more than like the lower trim levels of the Ford F-150, even the Chevys too. Like, this is a pretty good workhorse of a truck with a 400 horsepower V8. And if you haven't realized already, it's in this really awesome green color, which I think is pretty cool. The bronze wheels kind of make it stand out as well. But let's take a look at the sticker, see what kind of options you get in this trim level, and then also how much it is. Now, it's not a normal cheap trim level, so it's a little bit higher than any we can find, but again, the rules of the game are ones that we can find on the lot if you just walked up and wanted to buy something. So here we are. This has an 8-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, 18-inch wheels, heated seats, LED taillights, front tow hook, a bunch of other options like side steps, this bar back here, kind of a roll bar, the wheels, black badging pretty much everywhere you see, and also the blacked out bumpers. And it's got a little side step here that kicks out, which I think is pretty cool. You just push it and it comes out. And the interior is not too shabby either. It is cloth seats, but there's the screen, a nice dash, pretty good cup holders in the middle there. And honestly, it's a pretty big size truck, so you get a lot of room in the back. And if you go around to the front, that's also blacked out, except for the Nissan badge right there in the middle. But the question is, how much is this? So now we got to get to how much this Titan is. And we'll look at the sticker here, but I also saw a discount in the window over there. So this MSRP is $60,470, but they do have a pretty significant discount because they're trying to get rid of as many Titans as possible. This one actually has $9,000 off of MSRP, so you could actually get it for $51,470. Now take a moment to remember that this one was $51,000 and some change, because it's only going to get less expensive from here, eventually leading up to the cheapest one that we can buy. Now, I also want to say there's going to be some dealers in here that are like a little picky and they want you to go through a corporate thing to try to just like show the interior. And then there's other dealers here that are totally cool and be like, here's the keys, show people around. This one, I'd have to go through a bunch of hoops to just open it up and get a deeper look at the interior and under the hood. And I don't want to do that, nor do I want to wait or have someone like approve what I post, because we like to keep it as organic as possible here on my channel. But I think this next truck, I'll be able to show you a little bit more in depth. And again, starts to go down from here. Let's go to the next one. All right, for the next truck on this list, we're going down in price. We're starting to swing and we're going down. And I'm actually here at Toyota this time, and specifically Edmark Toyota in Nampa, Idaho. And this one's a little bit more in depth than the Titan, because we're looking at the 2025 Toyota Tundra, and this is the absolute cheapest spec of the 2025 Tundra that they had on this lot. And crazy enough, it actually just came in right off the boat, as you can say, even though it's probably not on a boat. It's made in America, you know what I'm saying? You get the point. But this one's gonna be a little bit more in depth because I got the keys right here, so we can actually look at this one a little bit more than the Titan. We have to start off on the outside, show you what it looks like, show you the inside, and also show you the price and what you get for the money. This is a 2025 4x4 Tundra SR5 Crew Max with the 5.5 foot bed. So it does have the shorter bed, not the 6.5 foot. It's got all of your standard equipment like the twin turbo V6, 10-speed auto, tow haul modes, 4-wheel drive, all that other fun stuff. And there's actually not much optional equipment. The only optional stuff you get here is the blacked out emblems, the all-weather floor mats, the tailgate insert that's black, which would be this right here, and you also get the spray and bed liner. And last but not least, these little door edge guards that keep you from nicking your truck or, you know, other people's truck when you swing that door a little too quickly and you're not paying attention. But as for options, that's pretty much it. And the price of this one at MSRP is $54,162. However, this one, even though it's just hit the lot as a brand new 2025 model, they do have a discount, and I'll get into that in just a second, but let me show you around it, see what this thing is about, what you get for that $54,000, and then I'll show you the discount, and then we'll move on to the next one. So this is your base spec Tundra, white paint, base silver wheels. The whole grill is blacked out, and it's all pretty much just, you know, plastic right here. Nothing fancy, but you do get some extra fog lights down here at the bottom, which I think is kind of neat. Mirrors are also a black plastic. Your handles are plastic. Again, it has that little blackout on the logos like the Tundra and the SR5 logo right here. And it's just a basic truck. You got your bed liner. These are the plastic pieces that they charge for just to protect the edges, and no fancy tailgate. There's not like 5 different positions or step up things or anything like that. It's just a truck, and you do truck things, and you just lower it down, and it comes down automatically, and you can just sit on your tailgate and do truck stuff. You don't need those fancy tailgates that swing out and up and down and left and right that cost you $3 grand more on the truck. A normal tailgate will do just fine. You still got all the hooks down here. You still got all the rail system right here on the side for like a bed cover or tying things down. Pretty neat. But let's see what that money gets you on the inside. All right, we're stepping into the 2025, and as you can see, there's still the plastic on the seats and the plastic on the back seats and something in this box. More than likely, actually, this is probably the floor mats. Okay, so let's actually get into the interior here. I think these cloth seats are pretty nice. There's a good pattern to them. They're pretty soft. They're not too rough on your hands. And believe it or not, even though it's the base model, you still get power seats that go back and forth, that adjust the back right here, and your lumbar right here is also electronic. The door panels, pretty standard plasticky stuff that, let's face it, every automotive manufacturer is pretty plasticky right now. But there's a little bit of leather type of stuff here and right along here where your elbow will rest. Okay, now sitting in the Tundra, it's actually a really comfortable place to sit. One thing I want to note is a lot of the older Toyotas, like I bought a first-gen Toyota Tundra about a year ago, and the seating position was really, really high. I felt like I was looking out of the top of the windshield. But my line of sight right here, I'm holding it to my eyes, is pretty much dead center, and I don't feel like I'm sitting on top of the car. I actually feel like I'm inside and a part of the truck, which is pretty nice. Looking down here at the center console, you've got your drive modes, tow haul, your little switch here to change it. You've got your switches here for 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. Just swing it down. Your electronic parking brake and your shifter here. That I like that it's not one of those crazy little dial things. Got some sliding trays here to store your stuff. 2 cup holders here. Your phones and things can go in this little area right here. 2 cup holders here, and we'll check out the back seat in just a minute. And all your lighting and dash controls right here on the left side of the steering wheel. You do have a push button start like everything now, so let's start it up. Everything kind of lights up here a little bit. Screen then turns on after the dash. And there's your little infotainment screen here with your music and your phone. All the settings right here that you're gonna need. And you can plug your phone in because it has all the Bluetooth stuff and the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and that kind of thing. So as you can see, not a crazy screen here. Toyota is sticking with the regular old dial gauges, and there's a little screen here in the center, and that's just about it, but it's everything that you need. One thing that I like that Toyota is still doing, while this does have a screen, the center section still controls a lot of your AC modes and the temperature, the fan, and some of the other areas of that as well. You just have to press buttons. You don't have to navigate through a screen to get to all the good stuff. A few things up here, sun visors, and a black headliner. And you actually have quite a bit of room in the back seat, which is really, really nice. And then when I slide this little tray back, you got more room in there. You got some little plugs for your phones and whatnot. And yeah, just a big old cave inside of there. Now, one interesting thing about the Tundra is you really don't have any engine options. They just have one. And that obviously is the iForce twin turbo V6 engine. Okay, we got one last thing to talk about, and I did say this had a discount already, so let me show that to you, and I gotta get my phone out to do that. So as you can see here, it's $54,162. There's a manufacturer discount here of looks like $3,465. That brings it to $50,697, but then you get this customer cash back right here, bringing it down all the way to $48,697. So that's right about $5,500 off the MSRP of this brand new 2025 model. So we're coming down, and the next one I'm about to show you is even cheaper. All right, next up, sitting right in the middle of this list, we are here at Ram, and specifically Peterson's Ram, Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, also here in Nampa, Idaho. And one note I want to make before I show you their truck that sits price-wise right in the middle, these are all four-wheel drive. So again, ones that are on the lot, these are four-wheel drive because in Idaho, four-wheel drive makes sense for trucks. It's really hard to find a two-wheel drive truck, especially in the lower trim level. But here's the cheapest Ram truck you can buy with 4 doors and 4-wheel drive. And that's going to be this one right here. And one of the interesting differences I find between this and the Toyota is it's trying to be a little more stylistic, even though it's less expensive. So with the Ram, you actually do get a little bit of chrome bits around the front with the logo and everything here. And again, it doesn't have like a blackout package. The wheels are again pretty standard. Black trim here, black trim on the handles, chrome on the back. Again, this is 4-wheel drive, and you still get a bed liner right here as well. So right here is the cheapest one you can get. This is a 2025 1500 Tradesman. And as far as the engine goes, it does have the 3.6 liter V6 e-torque engine. So unlike the Titan, which had the V8 with 400 horsepower, and then the Tundra that had the twin turbo V6 with about 380 something horsepower. This one is a bit lower on the horsepower, but how much lower, I don't know, because it's not listed on the sticker. But continuing back to the outside, this is another one, white. It seems like white is a popular color for the lower trim levels, probably because it's the cheapest paint and it's the paint they have more of. And this dealership also, again, Peterson here in Nampa, gave me the keys to this one as well, so I can actually show you the inside of this. So let's see how it compares to the Toyota and then the next two trucks on the list, going down to the cheapest one. Stepping inside, we're pretty plasticky on the door panel, and actually this one is more plasticky than the Toyota. This area is plastic, this as well. There's no soft touch anything here. Even the center here is plastic, so 100% plastic on the door, no creature comforts for like your elbow or anything really. Stepping into the seat, again, cloth. This is actually pretty nice. I think it's just as nice as the Toyota cloth seats. However, the seat is manual. You do not get electronic seats. So you got to do the old scoot it back yourself. Now, stepping into the inside here, it is definitely a little more basic than the Toyota, but again, we're going down a few $1,000s here, but it's still going to have everything you need as far as a truck. We've got a center console here, and this was actually pretty cool because it does flip up, so you have a full bench seat in the front, which is kind of neat. Seatbelts dangling right here. And then when you fold it back down, there's 2 cup holders here, and this opens up to reveal just a good storage area. Looking at the dash right here, just like in the Toyota, you've got your RPMs on this side, your temperature right here. Got the miles per hour, oil, battery, and how much fuel you have. And then, just like the Toyota, there's a little vertical screen in the center. So they're pretty much the same as far as the screen goes. Your light controls are over here, dimmer switches here. All your window controls right here. Steering wheel with some buttons. And the one thing I want to note about this is, even though it's less expensive than the Toyota, it does still have cruise control and even the auto cruise that keeps your distance from the car in front of you. Moving to the center screen, you've got all your parking controls right here. Park, reverse, neutral drive. This one is different. It does have the dial, unlike the Toyota. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive high, 4-wheel drive low, and auto start stop off. Very important button. Always turn that off because, personal opinion, auto starts out, for me, a little bit annoying. Moving to the center screen here, you've got all your infotainment right here. Your AC controls here, which are manual, which I very like. They're keeping up with that trend. And some little fun buttons right here. The engine starts again with a button. You also do have, I saw this light up, the lane keeping assist. And as far as these buttons go down here, this is traction control off, parking sensors front and rear off or on, and your tow haul mode. You've got some little auxiliary plug-in ports down here on the bottom for charging and connecting. Pocket for the dash, glove box, and the seat actually looks like it has just about as much room in the back as the Toyota. Moving up to the top here, you've got some switches, some lights, rear view mirror, and then you can open and close that back window in the center. So how much will this low trim level cost you with the V6 e-torque engine and pretty basic interior? Let me show you the price on this one. And before we do that and look at the price, obviously we need to just take a look at the engine, but I guarantee you it's gonna be covered up with a big piece of plastic. And I'm actually surprised it's not really covered up at all. This is the V6 engine right here with the e-torque system. Got a little cover here where the airbox goes, but everywhere else you can actually fully see the engine. It's exposed and it's not covered at all, which actually for maintenance is pretty good because it makes everything a lot easier to get to. And one thing I want to note about the engine is with this being just a V6 and not a twin turbo, it's actually going to be a lot easier to work on. Well, let me show you the price of that now. It's a bit hard to see, but all this is going to run you $53,200. But just like all the other trucks, it does have a discount. So here we are. This is the exact truck we're sitting in. You can see the MSRP is $53,200. However, there's $9,160 in discounts, bringing it to $44,040. So with it being $44,000, that sits right in the middle of our list onto the second cheapest truck, and then we'll go to the absolute cheapest one that you can buy right now. All right, we finally made it to the second cheapest truck on this list, and there's a lot of things about it that actually surprised me. And we're here at Kendall Ford in Meridian, and they were kind enough to actually give me the keys to this as well. So we're on a roll here being able to show you just about everything inside and out of each one of these trucks. And the cheapest truck here that I can find that's 4 doors at Ford is this 2024 F-150 STX in a really nice blue color. And there's some pretty interesting details that even though this is the second cheapest on the list, there's actually some things in here that I like better than the Toyota Tundra and the Ram. First of all, like a lot of other manufacturers, there's a bit of plastic on the front end. We got some down here and down here, but there's some paint on the bumper which keeps it looking really, really nice. The wheels on this are pretty good looking, I think. There's some nice Hankook all-terrain tires on here, which are pretty decent. And you get a little fancy lime green yellow looking thing in the fender vent here to make it extra cool. What's funny is the trimmer has that as well, but that's like 78 grand. Again, this is four-wheel drive. Every vehicle here we're looking at is four-wheel drive, and we're not looking at two-wheel drives because there's just not that many here where I live. They're really, really hard to find. One big difference here is, unlike the Ram, it does not have this step down here into the bumper. Does have a normal tailgate, full solid thing without all the fancy bits, and of course your reverse camera. But looking at the back, there's one thing that the other two had that this doesn't, and that is an actual spray and bed liner. It does have the plastic covers here though, but that will make the price go down several hundred, if not $1,000. So that helps the Ford a little bit. So I want to show you the MSRP, and then this one also has a discount, making it the second cheapest on this list. So I'll show you the MSRP, we'll look at the inside, we'll look at the engine, and then I'll show you how much it is with the discount to make it the second cheapest. And the sticker's really hard to read, so I'm not even going to try to shine it at the window. But this pretty much has no options after what the factory puts on it. But the MSRP is $52,310. Again, there's a discount. Let me show you a few things in the interior and we'll talk about that. Now, when I open the door, it instantly becomes clear why this is a little bit better of a bargain than the Ram. Sorry, Ram, it is what it is. Starting with the door panel here, obviously all the plastic bits around here, like all the other ones. But like Toyota, you do get a little bit of padding for your elbow to rest on in your arm right here, which is kind of nice. And the Ram was all plastic everywhere. The seats are manual, just like the Ram, so you have to adjust it down here at the bottom and slide everything back and forth. The back is manual, and as well as the lumbar. Window switches all on this side. You've got your switches to control all your lighting here, and your electronic parking brake right here. Now, the inside of this F-150 STX is where things get a little bit interesting, and where I feel like, as far as competing with Toyota and Ram, this one kind of wins, to be honest. So right away, the center console has 2 cup holders here, place to store everything here, little storage bucket down here, your center console where you can just put even more stuff, 2 cup holders right here, and the back seat, which has just about the same as much room as the Toyota and the Ram. But this section where the gauge clusters are is where it gets a little bit different. All your buttons here are the same. You got your drive modes right here. But first off, the key is a manual key, not a push button start. When you start it up, it becomes clear the differences, and it's really in these two sections here. For one, Ford opted to use a fully digital dash instead of having a normal type of cluster with a little screen in the middle. You actually get a full screen. And then moving on to the center screen, you actually get a full size, huge screen that's almost as big as the most expensive ones like the Trimmer and the Platinums. And it might even be the same size. I mean, this thing is huge. Look at my hand. It's like massive. Over here, you still get some storage here and your glove compartment down here like the Ram. You got some 12-volt things. You got a little charging station for your phones, more chargers for your phones. And again, look at that screen. And then of course, this does have a little twin turbo 2.7 liter engine. So I want to show you that real fast. All right, looking under the hood, I observed one thing that all of these trucks seem to have, and that is these right here that will hold the hood up, the hood struts, instead of having like a big old rod right here in the way. They all have hood struts, which is pretty cool. And then moving on to the engine here, just like the Ram, nothing is blocked off. There's no engine cover or anything. You can see everything underneath straight away, and there it is, the little baby 2.7 liter twin turbo engine. So how much is this with the discount? I said I would talk about that. Let's do that right now. So pulling up my phone, this one, remember the MSRP was $52. This has a discount of $10,056, bringing the MSRP to $42,254. And at $42,254, that makes this STX the second cheapest truck that you can buy in 4 doors and four-wheel drive right now. And finally, we're ready to go to the absolute cheapest truck that you can find that has 4 doors and is full size. So here we are. Let me show you that right now. Okay, we finally made it to the cheapest full-size 4-door pickup truck that I could find where I'm at. And if you haven't noticed, we are at Chevrolet, specifically Peterson Chevrolet here in Boise, Idaho. Now, this cheapest truck is pretty much an interesting one because it's more of like a work truck spec, and obviously it's going to be a Chevy. And let me show it to you and get your thoughts on it. And it's going to be this white 4-wheel drive Silverado in the what they call the WT spec, short for kind of like work truck. It's a bare bones full-size pickup truck with just all the basics that you need and nothing you don't. And there are several things about this truck that are pretty interesting. As you can tell on the outside, it's as basic as you can get. A little bit of chrome down there, plastic bits on the grill, just like all the other ones. But the wheels are very, very basic compared to all the other ones you saw. As you can see here, you straight up just get some nice steelies, and they're actually pretty cool looking. I actually like a good steely. It does have the dualer ATs, the same as the F-150 as well. Plastic here on the mirrors, more plastic on the door handles right here and here. And then just like the Ford, you've got the plastic covering the edge of the side and the tailgate. And again, right here, as far as limited options go, no spray-in bed liner. Moving on to the rear bumper, you do get something cool that the rest of them didn't really have. You actually get a little side step here in the bumper, which makes it really convenient. It's just straight up built into the bumper right here, so there's less moving parts, which I think is kind of cool. The more stuff that moves, the more stuff that breaks, the more money everything costs. Do get a towing package on this one right down there. Pretty basic tailgate. This one's actually a push button instead of a handle, and then it softly comes down, as well as all the other ones did the same thing. This is protected though. There's a little plastic cover over here to keep this part from getting scratched up. And another nice feature, it does come with the backup camera. Now I want to show you the price on the MSRP. We'll move into the interior, and then with the discount, I'll show you why it's cheaper than all the other trucks. And there's two things to notice here before I step inside. You'll notice that compared to this other full-size Chevy here, see how large this back door is? It's like a complete full back cab. This one is more like a half cab, and we'll check and see how much room there is in that in just a second. So I'm about to tell you the sticker, but there's one thing really interesting that I'd like to note that this has that all of the others did not have before it, except for the Nissan Titan. First off, this is a 2025 1500 double cab, work trim, whatever they want to call it, 4-wheel drive in Summit White. And this one actually does have a few options on it, which brings the price up from where it could have been. So it's $43,600 with no options at all. But this does add the 5.3 liter Ecotec V8 engine for about $1,595 and a few other things like tent and mirrors and trailer towing, stuff like that, bringing the MSRP to $49,320. Now that's not the price you're gonna pay. It's a lot lower because there is a discount just like all the other trucks on this list. And one thing I thought was really cool that this does have, as the cheapest truck, it does have a really good V8 engine in it. But opening the door here, this is all plastic here, all plastic down here. But like the Ford, it is soft right here where your arm and your elbow rest, which is nice. Switches on the doors here and locks here. Again, we're in a seat territory where they're not electronic. This one, all your adjustments are here, and the little slidey thing down there on the bottom to move yourself back and forth. Pretty basic cloth on the inside. It's about the same cushioniness, I would say, as the F-150. And then let's step inside and see what you get for your money. On the floor here, it's actually pretty interesting. Everything is rubber and it's a little bit padded. And while it's not fancy, it is actually really easy to clean out if it gets dirty. Unlike carpet, where if you're on the job site or you're working on something, you track all your mud in, it's really hard to get that out of the carpet. Second thing to note, this goes down back into pretty much everything is an analog cluster, except for a little tiny screen you get here. All your towing and mirror controls and everything are here on the left side. This one is a push button start, unlike the Ford. You've got your gauges here, and then unlike the Ford, this one has a screen, but it's a little baby screen compared to the gigantic thing that you get at Ford. That Ford screen was massive for the price, I think. Some little things to charge here. It does have some things like lane keep assist, auto start stop, automatic tailgate, and traction control, which is kind of nice. And then the center console, you got two cup holders here. You got a little storage pocket right here. And then in the back, as you can see, with this little cab, you got some knee room, but it's definitely not as much as all the other trucks on this list. But if you got to have someone back there, it'll still manage to get the job done. Moving over here, you got a top glove box that's actually enclosed, and the closed glove box down here on the bottom. And of course, this is the V8, so we do need to start it. It does have a nice subtle rumble to it. There you go. There's a nice V8 sound that none of the others had except for the Titan, which obviously we couldn't get access to the Titan, which sucks because the Titan sounds pretty good, but with this one you got a little bit of a V8 rumble. Let's take a look under the hood. It's actually pretty nice under this hood, and it's really, really clean. It's even cleaner than the F-150. There's not a lot of lines and electronic doodads running around all over the place at the top, like all the wiring and stuff. Just Chevy's clean, simple V8 engine. You got the airbox up here on the top, but other than that, everything is easy to get to. It's probably easier to work on. Again, you got the hood struts here keeping everything open. And I think it's nice that you, if you're a V8 engine lover, that you actually, in the cheapest truck on this list, can get a V8, which I think is pretty cool. So how much is this thing after the discount? And if it's the cheapest truck, what's the price? And as you can see here, the MSRP was $46,320 with $7,250 off of that MSRP, bringing it down to the cheapest full-size truck at $39,070 for this one. So there you have it, full-size truck under 40 grand with a V8 engine and four-wheel drive. So there you have it. I found the cheapest new truck that you can buy today that has 4 doors and is four-wheel drive. And it was cool that it did have a V8, actually had a solid rumble to it. Anyways, thanks for watching as always. And if you made it this far in the video, hit that like button so more people can see it, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.